Hello， 大家好，欢迎回到外媒看中国，我是安博然。Right now, I'm on board the first ever passenger flight from Shanghai to Chengdu on China's very own home-built C919. Come along and take a look. The first ever commercial flight of China's homegrown passenger jet, the C919, took off from Shanghai's Hongqiao Airport bound for Beijing yesterday. But that flight was more of a launch event. In actual fact, only very few lucky members of the public got to take part based on a lottery, and they flew to Beijing as part of that event. But the actual first real passenger service took off from Shanghai this morning, bound for Chengdu in Sichuan province, and I was on board. But before we get to that, let's check out some quick facts and see how Western media are reporting its inaugural flight. The C919 is China's first ever domestically designed and produced jetliner, and it is produced by COMAC, the Commercial Aircraft Corporation of China, which is based here in Shanghai. The C919 program kicked off way back in 2008, with production starting in 2011 and the maiden flight taking off in 2017. The aircraft is designed to compete with the Boeing 737 and the Airbus A320 and is roughly the same size. The C919 can seat up to 168 passengers depending on configuration and has a range of about 5,555 kilometres, which makes it perfect for domestic use here in China. So far, only one C919 has been put into service, with 4 more planes to be delivered to launch customer China Eastern Airlines, based in Shanghai this year. So how are Western media reporting on the maiden flight of China's C919? The Wall Street Journal said, China's C919 takes maiden commercial flight and first bite from Boeing. Despite backing from top leaders in a ready-made market for its planes, manufacturer COMAC faces a steep path to success. Now, that bite from Boeing quip in the headline is a bit confusing, and it isn't explained at all in the article. They continue, after a 16-year development program that was dogged by delays, the China Eastern Airlines flight took off about 10 minutes ahead of schedule on Sunday morning. Live-streamed footage from state media showed. Now, I just want to point out that much of that 16-year program centered around the most important aspect of passenger flight, safety. You can just imagine what kind of scaremongering headlines the Western media would have come up with if the program took 5 years instead, right? Damned if you do and damned if you don't. The BBC started with a seldom-seen non-scaremongering Chinese headline. China's C919 passenger plane makes maiden flight. Now, they waited until paragraph 4 to pull out their negative angle, and it's one that a lot of media and Twitter trolls are running with. They say, but the 164-seater still relies heavily on Western components, including engines and avionics. Now, this is interesting because they try to use a very ordinary fact to paint China's success so far with the C919 as somewhat less, just because it uses components from other countries. Nikkei does it less blatantly with this amazingly bitter headline. China develops passenger jet, but 40% of parts suppliers are overseas. They continue, potential turbulence lays ahead for the C919's business prospects. Out of the 39 lead suppliers for the plane, more than 40% hail from the US or other countries outside China. Financial Times even felt the need to make this graphic, showing just how many components of the C919 are made overseas. But here's the thing. Every major aircraft is made with thousands and thousands of components sourced from all over the world. In fact, Boeing and Airbus even complete many of their aircraft right here in China. KN Aviation noted, Boeing's aircraft consist of incredibly many parts. Whilst Boeing designs its aircraft and assembles them at its main assembly plants in the USA, the thousands of components and the millions of individual parts that go into a modern jet aircraft are made all over the world. So sure, China would love to get reliance on foreign suppliers down, especially for core parts, but this is a process that takes time. It is rumoured, though, that while the first C919s have foreign LEAP-1C engines, the Chinese designed and built CJ1000A by AECC in Shanghai is gearing to take over. Watch this space. Anyway, let's check out a bit from my experience on the first ever flight of the one and only operating C919 between Shanghai and Chengdu. Hey, morning you guys. I am at Hongqiao Airport here in Shanghai, about to take the first flight of the C919 from Shanghai to Chengdu in Sichuan province. Now yesterday that flight to Beijing was it was a passenger flight technically, but it was it wasn't really a passenger flight. So this is actually the first passenger service, the first real passenger service using China's homegrown jet, the C919. Let's go check it out. It was a moment of pride for the 160 plus passengers taking China's first ever C919 from Shanghai to Chengdu this morning, with almost every passenger milling around first outside the plane to take photos and commemorate this historic moment. The excitement continued on board as the C919 took to the air and the captain made an announcement welcoming all the plane enthusiasts on board. It was a pretty short flight, about 2.5 hours to the capital of Sichuan province. A special breakfast was served, Shanghai noodles, some white rabbit milk, and this special commemorative dessert. Before long, we were landing at our destination and everyone was excited to have witnessed such a proud moment for China, its very own homemade passenger jet, the C919. Okay, I've arrived, you guys, in Sichuan in Chengdu on the first ever proper flight of the China-built C919. It was an awesome flight, good plane. The captain even signed my boarding pass, which was pretty awesome. Definitely an awesome flight and very smooth. Wow, definitely an awesome plane, and I'm excited to see how it develops into the future. It is definitely a proud day for Chinese aviation. Anyway, you guys, that's it for today. I'd love to know what you have to say. Please let me know down below. And don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you haven't already. And I'll see you all next time. Bye-bye.